pen and paper could not seem more obsolete in 2024, but a gentleman understands that stationery still serves a vital purpose. The act of writing by hand is so much more personal and impactful than typing. For the recipient, it shows that your message was important and sincere. In fact, there are few things that will make you more remembered than if you get into the habit of writing handwritten notes and letters. In this gentleman's guide too, I'm going to explain the different types of stationery that you need, how and when to use them, and the impact it will have on your life. They say the pen is mightier than the sword, but this is not true if you're writing with a biro. To make the act of writing enjoyable and to produce aesthetically pleasing handwriting, you need a good quality pen. I am of the opinion that a man should have two important pens, a fountain pen and a ballpoint pen. So first, why a fountain pen? When I was in school, we weren't allowed to write with anything other than a fountain pen, so I got very used to them, but I understand that isn't the experience of most people. Although they may seem archaic, a fountain pen improves your handwriting, so every note or letter that you write will be more aesthetically pleasing. It also requires you to write more carefully and deliberately and press down softly. Using a fountain pen is a more ritualistic experience that makes writing much more enjoyable. In my opinion, a sincere note should always be written with a fountain pen. If you've never used one before, it does take a little practice. But once you get used to it, you'll find that it greatly enhances your writing experience. Not everyone will agree with me here, but I also think that a gentleman should carry a high-quality ballpoint pen. Your ballpoint pen is your everyday carry pen that you keep in your jacket pocket. It's more practical to quickly scribble down notes in a hurry, and you can lend it to others. On the other hand, I would not recommend lending your fountain pen to somebody else because if they don't know how to use it, they might actually damage it. How much you will pay for either a ballpoint pen or a fountain pen will range massively from a few dollars up to hundreds and thousands, although generally expect to pay a little more for your fountain pen than your ballpoint pen. Personally, I choose Parker pens for both types because they have elegant, timeless designs and they offer good value for money. If you're looking for your first fountain pen, you might want to check out the Safari model by Lamy, or if you have cash to splash, the Montblanc Meisterstück is the undisputed king of fountain pens. But stick to your budget and choose the pen that makes you feel the most like a gentleman when you're writing with it. For your personal note-taking and journaling, I recommend 3 different types of notebooks. The first is an A5 notebook. This is the typical journal size, and Moleskine is the most famous manufacturer. I also like to carry a very small notebook in my jacket pocket with my ballpoint pen. This is useful for writing things down that you give to other people, like a list of restaurant recommendations, directions, or your phone number. Then personally, I like to keep an A4 notebook on my desk and in my briefcase. This is like my big scrapbook. It's where I write down the ideas I have for scripts, anything creative that pops into my mind, and even my to-do list for the day. It's like a big physical version of the Notes app, but I like the A4 size because when I'm doing something creative, I come up with new ideas and I want to write things in the margins and up the top and on the side, so it gives me the room to do that. Now, I wouldn't use fountain pens on any notebook unless it's a high quality notebook like a Moleskine, because the lower quality paper won't take the ink too well. Instead, I save my fountain pen for more sincere forms of correspondence. For these notes, you want some dedicated cards and letter paper. An essential piece of stationery for the gentleman is the correspondence card. These are cards measuring around 4 by 6 inches, made of high quality paper that is luxurious to touch. The design of the cards will have something like a border edge, a motif, or your name or your initials. If you want just a border edge or a motif, you can buy generic cards on sites like Renpress and Crane & Co. But you can also get bespoke cards with any design that you want. This is what a traditional gentleman would have, although in my opinion it's not really necessary these days. Just the act of sending a handwritten note on high quality stationery is enough to be remembered, and bespoke stationery can be very expensive. So if you can afford it, that's great, but if not, don't worry about it and just go for something that's high quality but generic. For longer forms of correspondence, you'll also want to invest in high-quality letter paper. There are various sizes of sheets with different names like Monarch sheets and Executive Stationery, but the purpose is generally the same. Again, you can either choose something bespoke or something off the rack, so to speak. Whichever you choose, I recommend getting a similar design from the same store so there's some cohesion with all the letters that you send. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I was made to send handwritten thank you notes to everyone every time they gave me a gift. It's funny that as adults we forget to show such appreciation, even though the favors and gifts we receive are often of a much greater magnitude than a new toy. So if you're new to letter writing, I highly encourage you to begin by sending thank you notes using your correspondence cards. This could be after receiving a gift, enjoying a dinner party at their house, or to show your appreciation for a favor that they did you. The impact of this gesture is so much greater than sending a text message or a verbal thank you. It will make them feel greatly appreciated, and it will make it much more likely that the favors keep coming. Now let's talk about one of the hardest things of all to write, and that is a bereavement letter. How long this should be really depends on how well you knew the person and their family. You might want to send a brief condolence note on a correspondence card, or use a sympathy greeting card that you find in stores. But if you prefer to send a longer message, you can also use your letter paper. You can also write handwritten letters to friends or family with no particular purpose for anyone that you think will appreciate it. Some people love writing letters and will want to send you one back, which could be a fun form of correspondence for you two and an opportunity to hone your letter writing skills. And finally, don't forget the impact of the love letter. In a world of sexting and dick pics, a handwritten expression of admiration will win you a place in her heart that no other man will ever reach. Finally, I'd like to talk about ink. One of the best things about fountain pens is that you can put in whatever ink you like, and there are literally hundreds of colors to choose from. The ink you choose is another opportunity to express your personality with your writing. For example, if you're writing a love letter, a dark red crimson ink like Diamine's Writer's Blood is sure to convey a message of passion. When it comes to writing condolence notes, black reflects the seriousness of the matter. It's just like wearing a black suit to a funeral. For day-to-day correspondence and general writing, I like a nice dark blue, but you might want to choose something more personal to you like dark green or petrol. I was recently at a local stationery store to me, and I was amazed by some of the options that they had for inks, including many that were inspired by the city. I hope you enjoyed today's edition of the Gentleman's Guide 2. Let me know in the comments if you see the value of writing by hand and if you plan on doing so anytime soon. I'm sure many of my older viewers will already view this as an integral part of their character, but I hope that I've also introduced some of my younger viewers to the idea. The Gentleman's Guide 2 is an ongoing series in which I will tackle any subject that I feel has been unjustly unexplored. Thank you for watching today's episode, and I'll see you next week.